Welcome to Workflow Wednesday for November 17th. I have to show you this to get started. This is what I woke up to this morning. I live in the mountains outside of Colorado, and last night when I went to bed, there was no snow. This morning, look at this beautiful snowy environment that I woke up to. A lot of fun to see that. The seasons are changing. I can't believe we're already in mid-November. But welcome to another session of Workflow Wednesday Live, now with Troy. And today, what I want to talk about is, if you haven't seen my video of what is ServiceNow, check that out. ServiceNow is a platform for structured work that spans the enterprise. It spans your organization. I often describe it as the enterprise platform for structured work. And with that, as through the years, I've been involved with ServiceNow for over a decade. One of the things I love about the platform is seeing how it really does transform how work moves through an organization. And that affects a number of different audiences. And we'll see that with the case studies that I go through today. Obviously, it affects our employees, people that are inside of IT or outside of IT, just trying to find a way to make work better. So you're not chasing down the hallway or not chasing email boxes. We'll see that come up as multiple themes today. But it also affects HR in how HR provides services for the employees within the organization in a consistent manner, and tracks workflow through that and shares information in a consistent way. So we'll talk about that. But the other audience is customers. And we actually have two different views of customers that we'll go through today that talk about how ServiceNow is a platform that is really changing customer support and customer experience. And that includes both ordering as well as asking for help from customers and tracking that and seeing that change. And so we'll be going through some case studies. And so one of the things that I'll do is, let me bounce over here. Let me put on my desktop again, put that, and change my camera so I'm looking over here too. I've gone to Thirdera.com. And if you haven't heard, they are my sponsor. And so I'm a client exec with Thirdera, loving the organization. And we are a large, if not the largest, ServiceNow pure play partner in the ecosystem. Our branding is kind of fun, I think anyway. And if you jump to our website, thirdera.com, what I'm going to be diving into today is something that you can find for yourself in the resources page. I didn't want to navigate there without you seeing this, because I click on Insights and you can scroll down. Featured content will be here, but what we're really looking for as you come down is click on Case Studies, and that'll filter the information to case studies that we've published. And these are ways that you can come in, you can see for yourself how we've worked with organizations to use ServiceNow to transform the world of work. And so we're going to walk through these two customer workflows, an employee workflow, and an IT workflow. The one that we don't have, that you might have heard me talk about before, is creator workflows. That's where we use ServiceNow as an engine to customize business processes. It's, instead of doing full stack development somewhere else in your organization, you leverage ServiceNow as a platform to take advantage of all that core data that you have in the system, all the security that your security teams have already scrutinized and approved and reviewed, and build that custom process that can automate the flow of work that's very unique to your organization. We don't have a case study on that one. Maybe it's you. Reach out to me if you'd like to hear more about any of those, but let's dive into these. The first one, I have them open on tabs up here. So let's talk about improving customer service metrics from weeks to days. What's in a case study? That's what I entitled this Workflow Wednesday. And I want to talk about that is, inside a case study, one of the things we'll see is, what was the pain? What were organizations struggling with? What was our solution? And what were the outcomes? So any case study really should address those three things: what hurts, how we addressed it, and what we got as results. And so we'll walk through each of these, kind of walking, just describing that. And so in this one, we're looking at customer service. And I started intentionally outside of IT to really say that this is an area that I'm having the most fun talking with organizations about, is really transforming that customer experience. And so this one is organization we worked with. It's a large organization, 40,000 employees, 12,000 customers. And you imagine they saw over 10,000 customer service interactions every month. As you might imagine, that's hard to scale and hard to deliver truly remarkable customer service with that amount of scale. And that's exactly where this organization was hurting. And I'm not going to read that to you, but you can see the details there. If I pull up the key challenges, this is where a case study should really say, beyond that summary description above, what was the organization truly struggling with? Again, we see manual service interactions going into shared mailboxes. Do you hear that in your own organization? Do you feel that yourself? Yeah, I've got shared email boxes that just won't go away. Very, very common. Customer service is one that is prone to have those issues come in through email and they slip through the proverbial cracks. They get lost in an inbox somewhere. This company was unable to really automate those. And as a result, those things were really, they couldn't track status. They couldn't see how they were doing. And those, as a result, the customer, the third one down, was really struggling to get that response back. And there weren't any way to really enforce those service level agreements, right? That agreement that you have with the customers or clients that purchase from your organization on how you're going to serve them when they ask for some help. They needed a way to do that. And without any insight into it, they didn't really know how they were doing or how they could grow and scale to it. That leads us to the third part. What did we do and how did we get to those results? For us, that was building out customer service management or CSM on ServiceNow and focusing on a couple key areas. Email processing, integrating their phone system so if someone calls, they've got a good way to bring that in so we have that data, and then an internal portal so the customers can see where they're at, but inside you can see truly how we're doing on customer service. As a result, one of the things that we saw here is really fourfold, and you'll see we're pretty consistent with these: visibility, productivity, satisfaction, and scalability. We talked about it in the beginning that one of the problems this organization faced is they really didn't have any insight into the amount of work coming in to serve their customers or how they were doing with it. From a productivity standpoint, you can imagine chasing emails around, trying to find where they are and routing it was a nightmare. It doesn't really work that well, and they needed a way to drive that efficiency. By putting it in CSM, putting it in ServiceNow as that trusted system, we're able to see that productivity increase. As you imagine, being a customer that has a place where you could come in and look where your requests are, see who's working on it and how it's progressing, that satisfaction started to climb right away from their customers because their responses went to days rather than weeks. They have a large customer base of 10,000 customer interactions a month. And with that, they were able to scale so that not only can they deal with that amount of customer volume, but they can deal with it and resolve it much faster. So again, there's more description here, but the key is that by driving ServiceNow, looking at customer service metrics and looking at that customer experience, ServiceNow is that platform of platforms that can connect across the organization. When your customers or clients come to you asking for help, do you know consistently how you're doing? ServiceNow, here's a story of how we've helped an organization do that and accomplish that. With that, let's jump to our next one. This one is very exciting for us at Thirdera and ServiceNow because it is in the telecom space. And in the telecom space, ServiceNow has created a vertical with some vertical solutions in it. And this story is one that we've been able to help Ingenna. It's one where we actually named the client. We're working very closely with Ingenna on it. You'll see us, we're involved in their events, talking about the transformation that we've done with their organization, how it's really unlocked them for growth and improve customer service. So let's talk more about this one and why it's so unique. At least for right now, I think we'll see more and more of this because this is focusing at customers but looking at it not from a support standpoint, also from how do they order and how do they extend the services they buy from you. And so it's really pretty interesting. And Jenna is a global organization headquartered in Germany, and they're really built out a unique way to provide their services spanning a number of different vendors. And if you think about that, you can almost envision the very complex set of integrations that need to be involved in that. And that's exactly where Ingena was struggling. They're a smaller company, but where they really had the growth and the scale is with the number of clients they had and with the number of requests that they had coming from each of those. And speed is critical to their clients' business. So the key challenges here, really, it's that frictionless customer experience. I love that phrase. It's talking about how does a customer come back to your organization, understand how their services are doing through you, kind of seeing those operations, being able to order, provision it, and really track through it, as well as getting support. We needed a way to coordinate those orders and all of the applications that rely on it, that we can get out of the manual approach. You've heard me say again that ServiceNow is a system of action. Some of that action is fingers on a keyboard, but we can also put in what ServiceNow calls orchestration. That's where a technology can reach, ServiceNow can reach out to another technology and perform things and automate it. And so we've been able to find ways to improve that automation, whether it's passing work to different organizations or different people, but also looking for ways that we can drive technology changes directly. They wanted a solution that could help them truly scale. Their number of endpoints that they were going to see were going to expand, by 100-fold. And that's a lot of scale to deal with. And so they needed a way to do that. Right now, their order management and configuration management systems were complex, and they needed a better way to integrate that together. Our solution, again, is built on that whole telecommunications service management and telecommunications order management solutions from ServiceNow that is really built on and shared a number of different things in the customer service management solution. And so our practice is well involved in that, and we're able to use that platform to address those key concerns that Ingena had. The result, if you look through this again, some common words, looking at efficiency, satisfaction shows up again, reliability, and scalability. Efficiency, again, think about the complexity an organization has like this, where there's multiple vendors involved, multiple different platforms, lots of manual steps. They needed a way that they could have a single platform to automate that, assure the service is being provided, and eliminate those complex processes, particularly in the order process. Think of your order management in your organization. How smooth is that? Is that automated? Is it a trusted system? Ingena now has that. Satisfaction is another key result that they found with this solution, because their customers could come in, they could see how their services is operating, if they're meeting their SLAs. They can also see how their orders are doing and where they're progressing, as well as order more things. And so it really, as the phrase says, accelerated the speed of service. Reliability is the next one. And having that trusted system, ServiceNow being that platform of platform that really spans their delivery organization from the front end of a customer coming and asking for more services or checking on services to the back end of the multi-vendors involved in delivering it. It's all captured, being able to monitor that service health. And that reliability has given them a tremendous advantage to share with their customers. And from the beginning, one of their needs was having a solution that can scale as their client base and their customer base grows. This platform has helped Ingena set the foundation for that growth, and so they're ready to scale and can see a number way to do that with order volumes increasing. Again, that's that one, another customer case study. So with that, let me switch. Again, we talked about different workflows. As I switch to this one, we're going to look at HR. And, I think we've all wrestled with or heard or known people that are experiencing the great resignation. this world that we're in has lots of change happening in the world of work. And the experience for onboarding, offboarding, and those major life events is something that ServiceNow and their HR service delivery has been able to really jump in and help transform the world of work, not only for the HR staff working in HR, but also for the rest of your employees, that they know where their requests are, they can see where it's moving through, and they know where to go to get help. And so let's dig into this case study a little bit more. This one is for an organization that has about 10,000 employees spanning 50 different countries. And they had a model to kind of follow the sun, but what they found is the employee experience was really lacking. They didn't have a consistent way to really follow that. And again, email is another approach that was really struggling with them, and they needed a way to follow those incoming employee requests. If we look at the key challenges, again, we've heard that pattern, manual processes from the last two case studies. As customers came in to ask for some help, it was manual. In this organization, HR had that same thing. There were many different fragmented approaches. Delays were showing up, and really caused frustrations as things kind of fell through the cracks. Again, we hear that requests were being managed and tracked through different shared email boxes. You can imagine how many times that was hard to track and easy to lose. Employees were really discouraged with that experience and wanted something else. There was no easy way for the organization to track the amount of work coming into HR or the metrics around it to know how well they're doing, and they needed to address that. So let's look at our solution. Our solution is really bringing in ServiceNow's HR capabilities, and we did the first phase very, very quickly. You see that 11 weeks. It's one of the things that we at Thirdera have been able to do is look at that time to value and say, how fast do we need to get some base capability out? And there's a way that we can phase that out, that it's a journey of increased improvements. So you can see some improvements right away. And we were able to do that in 11 weeks to get them started. And what we provided is first looking at those number of different shared email boxes. We looked at how could we do custom mailbox routing so that all of those requests, if they're coming in through those existing email systems, that they'd come into the trusted system, so it'd be in one portal, so we'd be able to update it at any point in time. We use ServiceNow's HR agent workspace, so the HR team has a single place to look at the workload and contribute to that, as well as being able to leverage the knowledge base and extend it, right? So it's really taking ServiceNow and working with, in this case, Workday, but your HR system of record. How do you really do the workflows that stand on top of it? And that's what HR service delivery and the HR workplace does. It gives you the ability to track the work that needs to be done for different cases as they come in from your employees and integrate between those platforms. I mentioned it earlier, but having an HR knowledge base and knowledge management system was another key part of this solution for them. They had many different places to put it, and we provided that capability to allow versioning and what's called knowledge blocks, basically snippets of information that can be shown to different user groups or can be shown to different audiences, and you can leverage it over and over. And what that does is that equips your employees to come into a portal. They can know it's a trusted system to go to. And many times, through the knowledge base and the knowledge management system, they can self-serve. They can answer their questions. What's going on with my 401k? How do I do this transition? Where can I find that information? They can self-serve through that. So building that knowledge helps move that so your employees can find that information faster. So let's look at the result. Again, the top one is efficiency. We've seen that already. In this one, having that centralized approach has really boosted the amount of productivity across this global HR team. They know where to look for work, and they can move it through much faster. Transparency is another key one when you look at HR. Giving the employees the ability to come in and see where things are at, understand where it's going through, as well as executives being able to see, is my HR team staffed appropriately to respond to the needs and requests that are coming into them. Satisfaction is another result that this organization experienced. It's one we've seen before, but employees often get frustrated with multiple shared emails, multiple systems to turn to, kind of scratching their head trying to figure out, where do I go for this request? By putting that all in one place, they've seen the employee satisfaction really increase by having faster responses and a clear place for employees to look for those inquiries. In analytics, that kind of goes back to the transparency above, is now they have some data where they can really look at when they need more staff or different staff, and they can see real-time delivery results and performance to know how they're doing in delivering HR service. You read more about that one, but the key here is, again, looking at ServiceNow as that platform of platforms, working with Workday and looking at how do you get out of email, how do you create a single source for your employees to go to and to change their experience so they know how to ask for help, how to find information, and how to see where their requests in queue are progressing. So with that, let's switch to another one. This is going to dive into IT. ServiceNow has a tremendous amount of analytics and data on it. ServiceNow is one database that kind of spans the enterprise. There's excellent security, so depending on fields or records or other things, that based on the role people have, they can see different data, but it is one common database. And so as you think about that, all of the work that's going through your organization, as you start looking at that, there's more that you can glean from it. Performance analytics is one of the capabilities that Service has on top of that, that gives you more tools to analyze that information. So let's dive into this case study, looking at data-driven innovation using performance analytics, or PA. This organization is looking at an IT department that's really spanning many different departments. There are many different organizations that were legacy, and they moved them to ServiceNow to streamline those requests and really strengthen the IT service management capabilities. The department saw improvements in service delivery capabilities, but wanted to get deeper analytics and performance on how they're doing and how effective those processes are. If you ever had those questions, I think we're doing all right, but where can I improve? How could I do better? That's exactly where this organization was. So let's look a little bit deeper at their challenges. In phase one of the implementation, it allowed this organization to streamline their IT requests. Again, they had different organizations, they brought them together, but they really lacked some of the visibility and some of the analytics on how they were doing with those organizations. They wanted some real-time analysis so they could see, as they changed some things, how effective were they with those processes. They also needed a way to roll up that performance so you could look at different groups, but also roll it up and look at performance to specific areas within their organization. They also wanted to be able to have that granularity, to zoom in, to focus on specific day-to-day details, to see if there's adjustments, to see if something happened in the organization, something happened in the environment or the culture. How do you respond? And let me get that window out of the way. But how do you respond and see that daily information to be able to really respond quickly? With our solution, we really looked at how we can take PA and dive in deeper to provide the analytics that they needed. And so there's really three things we focused on in using performance analytics. It was looking at how do we get that real-time access to data and dashboards that were not only just some generic KPIs or some good ones out of the box, but our team worked with this organization to identify what are the key performance indicators that they needed and how do we use PA to give them real-time access to that. We also created some dashboards. So really two of them that we highlighted. One was an executive dashboard where things were summarized, and from a very high level, you could see how is my IT service management doing. Again, within ServiceNow, you can drill down. So from that executive summary, they could go deeper. The other portal that our team created is really the process manager dashboard. So if you're thinking about a service management lead, someone responsible for IT service management, Well, that's a dashboard that lets you jump in and look at the day-to-day service delivery metrics for your organization. That's where this dashboard really showed up. And as a result, here's what our client experienced. Again, some of these are going to repeat, but visibility was key. We heard that from the top, is they had some systems in place, but they had a tough time knowing how they were doing. And were they able to really see how their processes were doing, and if people were getting what the service that they needed? With this solution, they had that visibility. Efficiency also improved. One of the things I hear multiple times, even when organizations have ServiceNow, is they're extracting data, they're churning it in Excel and producing reports. This organization was able to save so much of that time, reduce those manual efforts, and they had that information accessible right on the platform for different audiences based on those dashboards. The result was they saw the satisfaction improve. And so as they had that insight into how their processes were doing, they were able to look at ways to innovate it and ways to improve to drive that satisfaction up. The result, too, drove to performance. They could see what they could and should be doing from a continual service improvement standpoint, because they could see where there were dips in their performance or where they had outliers, and drill into it and perform some coaching loops or change some processes to drive that innovation. Again, more you can read there. So let me switch back to here. If you think about ServiceNow, again, it's that platform of platforms to really drive automation and help transform the world of work. As we say, it's Workflow Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed those case studies, and watch on Thirdera's website where you can see other case studies as we publish them. Hopefully you'd enjoy kind of a summary overview of those. Those 4 are available for you right now if you want to jump over there and look. And as I will say, a little mention from my sponsor. I'm a client exec that cover a number of states right in the middle: Arizona, Colorado, Nebraska, or New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming. If you'd like to meet, I'll buy you coffee. Reach out and let me know. Glad to sit down and talk through where you're at with the world of work. Are things still coming in through shared email boxes? Would you like to envision a different way to use it? Reach out. Let's sit down and talk through that. And again, join me next Wednesday for another Workflow Wednesday. This time I'll have Dan Turchin from People Rain on with me, and we'll talk about artificial intelligence. Join me next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.